What is rendering? Rendering, by simple definition, is basically just polishing up your artwork. But how do you get there? And how does this turn into this? Well, today I'm going to show you through my whole process from sketch to render. Yeah! Big disclaimer, I'm definitely not a pro artist and I'm learning things every single day. And this is just how I render, and you don't have to do anything I say in this video. Rendering is different for everyone. This is just my process. Anyways, let's get into the video. For my sketch, I usually don't draw any of the smaller details of the drawing. I only draw the pose and bigger elements. Then I clean up parts of my sketch that are too messy so I can have a clear idea of the drawing. Next, I lower the opacity of the sketch and make my line art. I prefer a more clean line art, but it doesn't matter if you have a more sketchy one because this will all work the same. Now, let's add the base color. I pick a light gray color and fill the drawing with it. There are two types of ways you can fill a drawing, the bucket tool or the lasso tool. The bucket tool is easy to use, but if your line art isn't completely connected, the color won't go into the area you want it to. The lasso tool can help you fill in bigger areas of your drawings without needing your line art to be connected. I use a combination of both depending on where I'm filling in the drawing. Now I will create a clipping mask over the gray color area and start adding color to the drawing. Art tip: when using white or black in the drawing, try not to use pure black or white. For white, I usually pick a very light blue. Same thing goes for black, except doing a very dark saturated color. Lastly, we will color the line art. Set your line art to alpha lock and fill in the line art with a dark color, not black. Then I just add overlays of different colors on top of the drawing because I'm indecisive and can't choose color schemes. So yeah. How to do proper lighting is kind of hard to explain because I just kind of go with the flow. But if you need references on lighting, just go to Pinterest. Pinterest has so many different just references for everything. Pinterest is my savior with lighting, honestly. Back to lighting, I add a clipping mask and fill it with any color of your choosing. Then I make the blending mode multiply. I add another clipping mask and set it to add. Now, whatever color that you use for the multiply layer, use the color that is on the opposite side of the color wheel for the lighting. For example, if my multiply layer color is red, I would use green for the lighting. This keeps your lighting and shadow colors balance out all together, if that makes sense. I will lower the opacity of the add layer, and now I can start adding lighting. I'll make a new layer and add some basic shadows, which would be in the clothes, underneath the hair bangs, underneath the neck, etc. Now here's the part you've been waiting for, rendering. Now, with my rendering, I just kind of go with it. I just kind of lock in and it just happens, which I know this isn't very helpful at all. But in all honesty, rendering to me is just an opportunity to clean up my art and add more details. But remember, different materials have different textures, so they will be rendered differently. Example would be like how you wouldn't render skin the same way you render hair. If you need references on how to render a material, then there are many references again on Pinterest and on YouTube, probably. So now with the rendering, I will just clean up and change anything that looks off during this time and add more cute details. Now, if you know me or my art, you may know that I love to add bright colors into my art. So here's how I add them. Make a new layer and pick a dark purplish blue. Basically, what you're doing with that purplish blue is exaggerating all the shadows with that blue. So you put the blue wherever the shadows are. Then I will add a pinkish rim around the blue shadows for contrast or something. I don't know. I think it just looks cool, okay? It just looks cool. So that's why I do it. You can lower the opacity of this shadow bluish layer, but don't go below 70% because we still want to see that bright color. Now, we can do that same thing again, except with the highlights. I usually use a bright green, turquoise, teal, green, turquoise. This color, and once again, exaggerates wherever the highlights will be. The artwork is looking pretty good. Now I just like to add some filters to bring it all together. I just play around with the different color adjusting filters and just work it out until I like it. Usually I do this to brighten up my art even more. But yeah, just whatever program you're using, get to know what filters and other tools you have so you know how to use them and you know what they do. Like I just spent one day just playing around with the IbisPaint filters because now let's add some more spice, let's add some texture. So this is my favorite way to add texture using filters. I go to pixelate, then pixelate crystallize. Then, after I add that filter, on the same layer, I add dots hexagonal. Then I can just adjust the opacity or blending layer however I like. And finally, I like to add some screen tone to my art, so when you zoom in, there's more texture. So go to screen tones. I usually click L6.L6. Don't worry about how the art looks right now, just trust the process. Then you want to go to the little dots on the bottom and hit rasterize. Now you can change the blending mode, opacity, all of that with the screen tones. Well, that's basically it for my rendering art process, whatever you want to call it. I hope you learned something today, and if you like this, consider liking and subscribing to see more of my work. Here's the finished piece, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye!